Listings, 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 listings. Do you need listings? If the answer is yes, it might be time to do something a little uncomfortable. Hey, welcome back to the Tom Ferry Show. Last week I was talking to you about making your calls. Tell me that you're doing the thing and you're giving yourself the power. And if you haven't started, promise yourself today, if you're truly committed to your business, truly committed to serving your clients, you'll start making the calls. Because remember, every day making your calls matters. And if you don't do it, don't worry, someone else is going to market to your database and they're going to do it in a beautiful way. And can you live with that? Can you live with someone else doing a better job and taking you out of the equation? Creating a little fear and anxiety? I hope so. If that gets you off your you-know-what and into action, I've done my job. Well, today I want to talk to you about listings. So obviously here we are almost at the 9-month mark of the year. We got, call it 93, 97 days left between now and the end of the year. And my question for you is, have you heard this yet? There's not enough listings in the marketplace. And I understand why, right? What I know is this. Play along with me just for a second. You ready? If you were to hold a golf club as an example, right? So actually do this right now. I mean, unless you're watching on your iPhone and you're driving, please don't do that, right? So if you hold the golf club like this, right? And you swing the club, if you've ever done this before, you're probably going to hit the ball and it's going to go to the right. And the reason why is you're holding your hands in a comfortable position. Every golfer knows if I just go like this, all of a sudden, that little slight edge difference, that little adjustment, now it's a little uncomfortable. And just like that, I hit the ball straighter and I hit the ball down the middle. It's a metaphor for life and it's a metaphor for business. If we're only doing what makes us comfortable, we don't do that well. But the second we get a little uncomfortable, we start doing things that we know work, but it's a little uncomfortable in the beginning, we make that the new way and we win. So let's talk about a source of business that might be a little uncomfortable, but it's going to help you win. Probably not the one you're thinking about it, but if you're in the US with, call it 128 million homes, about 16.6% are investment properties. We would call them non-owner occupieds. If you're up in the beautiful country of Canada with like 15.4 million houses, 4 million are investment properties. What is that? 26%, almost. Over one out of every 4 houses is an investment property. To me, what that says, when you're in an environment like this, where there's not enough inventory, you got buyers that are coming in the marketplace, they're desperate to buy a house, and there simply aren't enough homes, we need to reach out to these people that have been maybe sitting on these investment properties for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and say to them, hey, have you guys had any thoughts of trading up, trading down, selling this property? It really is that simple. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go into your MLS or however you get the data on your business and figure out how many non-owner occupieds there are in your marketplace. That's the first thing. Secondly, I would tell you to export that entire list and put it in your database, right? Have it as this new list called opportunities or non-owner occupieds. And if you really, really, really are committed to finding more listings this year and in 2021, you're going to say to yourself, okay, who's most likely to move? Who's most likely to sell this property? Move is actually the wrong word. Who's most likely to sell this property? What's on the minds of someone that owns a bunch of units? Toilets, tenants, oh, this just broke, that just broke. Oh my goodness, I'm breaking even on that property. I'm not even making any money. And then all of a sudden you call me and say, hey, Mr. Ferry, we see you got a property over there in Costa Mesa. Have you guys had any thoughts of trading up, trading down on that? And I'm like, as a matter of fact, I am. And you and I both know it's not an emotional conversation to talk to me. If you called me and said, had any thoughts of selling the home that you and your wife just built? I'd be like, I don't know, her garden, this, that, their mom, the puppy, the kids, and we always wanted to. It's an emotional thing. But if you call me about an investment property, it's math. It's math. It's math. Do you get that? It's numbers. What am I going to do with that cash? Can I 1031 exchange it something bigger, better, faster, different state, different part, whatever? Here's my point to you. Are you comfortable with the number of listings that you're getting? Or can we get a little uncomfortable and go after a new source, having a different kind of conversation with an investor about an asset that it might just be time to trade? I shared this story last week on a live webinar. Cute story. I married my little sister a couple weeks ago, and I married her to this wonderful guy, Colin, who's a commercial real estate broker who specializes in selling hospitals, but that's his new specialty. When we first met him, he was just selling a lot of commercial real estate, right? Working for a commercial real estate brokerage. And one day, he called an investor, happened to be my mom, and he said, you know, Mrs. Ferry, I see that you have this property at 1234 Banana, and I'm just curious if you had any thoughts of trading up, trading down. They have a little dialogue. She's a bit of a deal junkie. Sorry, Mom, just keeping it real. And guess what? They start talking and talking and talking. And next, she says, you know, you sound kind of handsome. Are you single? And he goes, well, as a matter of fact, I am. And he's a very, Colin, if you're watching, right? Right, it's a little intense. And she says, well, you sound cute. Why don't you send me a photo? And he's like, are you serious? She's like, yeah, send me a photo. He texts her a photo. She goes, you're pretty handsome. Let me text you a photo of my daughter. I just married them from a cold call on an investment property. My point to you is this. Good things happen when you make these calls. Good things happen. You meet investors. Guess what? Usually those investors, they don't own just one property. They own 5, 6, 8, 10, 15, 20 properties, and they know other people that own a bunch of investment properties, and you just might be the one that makes that good impression, right? That delivers value. 2 years ago at the summit, I said to people, you should go after this list, but what you should do is you should bring them a ton of value first, rather than just saying, hey, thinking about selling, which is okay. Maybe you do a little research and you figure out every property they have that's more than 10 years old. And in the US, that means they probably use the depreciation rules to depreciate that asset, so they're not getting the tax benefits anymore. So it might just be time to trade that property. So all of a sudden now, they're doing CMAs, beautifully done, on those properties. Maybe they don't know the, the net ordinary income based upon the rents, but they can make an estimation and say your property value is about X based upon the comps. And then they would send that in a beautiful, nondescript envelope, hand addressed, hand stamped, to the person's primary residence with a sticky note saying, congratulations on what you've done with this property. I'm just curious. I put together a whole bunch of information. Here's the values. I noticed you own these 3 other ones. I put those inside there as well. They're over delivering, and then you make the phone call. They're over delivering, and then they make the phone call. Now, you're still watching. Comfortable? Uncomfortable. Ready? Comfortable, which means you're not making a lot of money. I'm sorry, you're not getting a ton of listings. That's the reality. Doing things that make you a little uncomfortable, and just like that, you're in the real game. You're acting like a professional who sees the market, the opportunities, understands their problems, and works to solve them every day. So what do I want you to do? Download the list. Get it inside your database. Decide on a direct mail campaign. Start with, what's the first thing I want to send them? Maybe it's a hand addressed, hand stamped note that just says, I was doing some research, looking at some properties in the marketplace that are owned as investments. We know that there's basically 2 types of investors in our town, right? The big box sort of, industrial investors that own hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of units, and then the people like myself that own, mom and pop 5, 6, 8, 10. I notice you own 3 here inside, this specific city, and I'm just curious, has anybody taken the time to do an evaluation, to talk to you about rents, to see what's going on in the marketplace? Because I'd love to deliver that value. Could we spend 15 minutes on the phone or in Zoom and have a conversation, right? A soft, gentle ask, acknowledging what they're doing, and then follow up with a phone call. And if not that letter, something else. My point to you is this. When I chat with agents all over North America, I hear the same thing over and over again. There's just not enough inventory. And my question for you is, with 97 or 93 days left, what are you going to do about it? You going to sit on that buy side and be like, oh, I'm so frustrated, I feel so bad for my buyers? Or are you going to start finding the opportunities in your marketplace, getting a little bit uncomfortable to hit the ball right down the middle and win more listings? Let me know in the comments. I want to know. There's all kinds of things you can do. You can still grab the summit notes. Everything is there, the letter, the scripting, it's all there for you. You just got to decide, are you going to do it or not? Let me know, and I'll see you next week.